Hey, welcome back to the Crack Mug. Today we're making Coq Au Vin, originally called Coq Au Vin de Burgundy, which simply means rooster in wine, or rooster in Burgundy wine. The dish dates back to the Roman period, 4th, 5th century AD, but it is in Burgundy, France, where the recipe we know today was solidified into this magnificent dish. Curiously, the first known published recipe for this was in a book that was printed in England in English in 1864. The book is called Cookery for English Households, and the author was a French lady. No other name. That was it. I have the book on Kindle. It's very interesting. The foreword is fascinating. And apparently you can buy the original book for somewhere between $600 and $1,000, first edition. Interestingly enough, that recipe was with white wine. It was called poulet vin blanc. Somewhere along the line, it went from Burgundy wine to white wine. Now, I've had it with white wine and chicken stock, and I don't like it at all. I much prefer the original recipe. It's beef stock and red Burgundy wine. And speaking of wines, there's this old thing about, if a wine is not good enough to drink, just use it for cooking. That is a wrong frame of mind. The wine you cook with should be a wine you would enjoy drinking, period. The flavors you don't like while you drink it will only increase and intensify as you cook it. So don't waste your time, your money, or a meat in using a cheap, horrible wine in your dish. Look, you can get a bottle of Burgundy for under $20. No big deal. Anyhow, that's all I know about this recipe. So, in the meantime, let's get in that kitchen and make Coq Au Vin. I'm using chicken legs, so I've cut them in half. So I have drumsticks and thighs, and those have been patted dry. Pearl onions, cremini mushrooms, or a brown mushroom, even a white mushroom will do. Some plain flour. Here I have some chopped up thick sliced bacon. You can also use pancetta. I have a nice red Burgundy wine, a couple of tablespoons of vegetable oil for frying the chicken, a few tablespoons of brandy or cognac, salt and pepper, bay leaf, thyme, beef stock. Beef is better than chicken for this recipe. Unsalted butter, tomato paste, and minced garlic. Let's get started. Over medium-high heat, we'll add about a tablespoon of oil to our pot. I'm using my cast iron pot here. Julia loved adding, even though we're adding bacon to this to fry it off, she always used a little oil first, so in it goes. To that we're going to add our bacon. And we're just going to saute this till it renders its fat and it's taken on a little color. While the bacon is doing its business, here I'm going to add to my chicken, give you about 3/4 teaspoon of salt and a 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. And we're just going to season our chicken. Our bacon is looking and smelling gorgeous, so let's get that out and we'll set it aside. Has a lovely color. Over medium-high heat, we are going to brown our chicken. This will take about 3 to 5 minutes on each side. Don't overcrowd your pan here. You may have to do this in 2 batches. Beautiful. We're looking for a nice golden brown. Just a minute or 2 on this side and we'll be happy. Set these aside for now and continue with the second batch. While the chicken is cooking, in another pan, in a saute pan, add about a teaspoon of oil and a teaspoon of butter. We're going to do our onions and our mushrooms. You can buy fresh pearl onions and peel them yourself, but you will have to blanch them first, which takes more time. These are frozen and they are smaller, but I've defrosted them and I've dried them well with paper towels. We just want to get a little bit of color on these. Medium-high heat for them. Almost. And these have taken on a lovely brown. That's done enough. We're going to set these aside. We'll come back to them later. Back in the same pan, another teaspoon of butter and another teaspoon of oil. And to that, we're going to add our mushrooms. The mushrooms will soak up all the oil and butter in the pan. And as they heat up and begin to cook, they will release that and juices back into the pan. We don't want to overcook our mushrooms. We want them nice and plump and juicy. That should take about 5-6 minutes. All right, our chicken is browned enough. Lovely. We're going to set that aside as well. There is a lot of fat in this pan, so I don't need it all. So I'm going to take off some of it, and I'm going to leave about a tablespoon and a half. So this fat is both the bacon and the chicken fat. I'm going to set it aside in case I need it, but I'm not going to keep this fat for later use because I only partially cooked that chicken, so would not want to use that again. Mushrooms, after about 3.5 minutes, are taking on some lovely color. I see some moisture being released from them. Not too much longer and it'll be perfect. But do give them a toss. My pan is at medium-low heat because it is very hot. So to that, I am going to add my thyme, tomato paste, and minced garlic. If your pan is super hot, turn it down or off for a moment. We don't want to burn our garlic. We want to cook a little bit of the raw tomato paste out before we move on. It'll only take a minute or two. To that, I'm just going to add maybe 1/4 cup of our chicken stock to deglaze our pan. Let's get everything off the bottom. Add a little more if you need to. And our mushrooms are looking incredible. Beautiful color on those. Let's put those aside. Lovely. To our pan, we're now going to add 5 tablespoons of butter. Once that's melted, we're going to add 7 tablespoons of plain flour. Keep mixing. It will clog up and get really thick. It's perfectly fine. I'm still on medium heat here. We're just going to stir this for about a minute or two, just to get the flavor of the raw flour out of our mix. To that, let's add our 2 tablespoons of brandy. You can fondue that if you'd like, and let the alcohol burn off. Like Julia does, she doesn't know if this does anything for the dish. Maybe it's just a bit of drama. If the flame is too big for you, you don't want to. 1, you don't have to light it. 2, you can just put the lid on it. Still burning, and it's out. Over medium-high heat, we're going to add our wine and the remainder of our beef stock. A little more salt and pepper. Give that a good stir as it comes to heat. All right, bring this to a simmer over medium-high heat. Almost there. All right, this is at a simmer. I can see our sauce is thickening already. But we're going to let this simmer gently for about 15 minutes and let all those lovely flavors develop. This has been about 12 minutes and I can see it's begun to reduce a little bit. So it's time to add the rest of our ingredients back in. We're going to return our chicken to the pot and all the juices. We'll return our mushrooms and our pearl onions to the pot, along with our bacon, or pancetta, if that's what you've used. Give it a nice stir. We're going to sit there at a gentle simmer for about 20 to 30 minutes, and we'll take its temperature as well. All right, it's been about 25 minutes. I've mostly cooked this with the lid off. I only put it on 5 minutes ago. Oh my, look at that color. It smells incredible. I'm just going to take a big piece, you'll do, and take the temperature. It should read more than 165 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 74 degrees Celsius. It is at 175, so we're good. Now is the time to check this for seasoning. It smells incredible. Look at the color of that. All right, I'm ready. 2 spoons. I'm going to turn off the heat because I'm very hopeful we are done here. Oh my goodness. It's absolutely delicious. This dish is really all about, I guess, 2 things. The wine and the chicken. Make sure you use a good quality wine. Not an expensive wine, but a wine that you would sit down during the week at home and drink it and be happy for it. So something nice. All right, we're going to let this settle down. I'll take it off the heat for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, while I prepare the vegetables. We're going to taste this. My kitchen smells incredible. All right, we're going to set this aside for a little while and we'll plate it. All right, it's time for me to have some of this wonderful dish. Some mushrooms, pearl onions, and lots of sauce. It's time to eat this delicious meal. My kitchen smells amazing. So as you see, I'm having it with a pile of mashed potatoes, which goes very well with all this incredible saucy gravy. All right, I'm going in. I chose a thigh, so let's see. Oh my God. It's just falling off the bone tender. That sauce, it's such a unique flavor. It's absolutely brilliant. Sorry. With them, with those wonderful juicy mushrooms and the pearl onions, this is absolutely amazing. Just a little mashed potato, some gravy, and a little bit of chicken. Pardon me. That sauce, oh my God, you could bottle it. Wow, this dish is not difficult and it's quick to prepare. Now, even though it's called a rooster in the wine, roosters used to be very tough meat indeed. So they would soak the rooster in red wine overnight for several hours before. Some recipes still call for that. Our chickens nowadays are quite tender. So we can do this whole meal in an hour and a half. And it is absolutely incredible. If you make it, I know you'll love it. Look, you have a whole pot of it. You could feed at least 6 people. There are 8 pieces of chicken in there. And it is magnificent. Back in the day, I think it was like 1786, Queen of France, Marie Antoinette, had a phrase that we know today, which is, let them eat cake. But long before that, hundreds of years ago actually, King Henry IV of France had a phrase of his own, and it's what we know today as a chicken in every pot. But at that point, I think they paraphrased it into that, or condensed it into a chicken in every pot. It was more like, I wish every laborer in my realm to be able to put a fowl in the pot on Sundays. This fowl in this pot is absolutely incredibly good. Make it. You will love it, I promise you. Thank you so much as always for your support. The recipe instructions are in the description and a link to everything. Please check out my website. It's growing and I'm adding on to it every week. There'll be some stuff on that website that will not be on YouTube. So I want to thank you for all your support. Can you please do me a favor? Like, comment, and subscribe. According to the YouTube algorithm, it's very important. So until next time, mind yourself. Bye. I'm going to eat some.